Welcome to another episode of Dead in the Water. This week I'm running solo. I'm missing my better half, Turf. He's en route to Sin City to go watch the fight this weekend. So hope he has a good time. So we are watching the Commanders and the Packers tonight. We're gonna get into a little bit of what week one looked like, what to expect in week two, key injuries, transactions. I know there was a one interesting one that I can think of off the top of my head. Obviously, chat lives matter. We want to hear what you have to say. Get your stuff in the comments. Anything you want to talk about, we'll we'll talk about it. If we have some time at the end, we're going to get to the. We'll talk a little bit about the fight. See if we can't get some people talking about that in the comments. I know everybody's real interested in it. This should be a real good one. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. We got the first topic that I want to talk about today is week one recap. Now, if you guys are regular watchers, you know that I was heavy on the Patriots in week one. Um, I just thought that we presented a lot of matchup problems for the Raiders. Obviously, I was mistaken. Game didn't quite go as I thought it would. A little bit of it is the Raiders showing up. So credit to Pete Carroll. Got that team ready. They looked pretty solid, actually. Week one, I thought there were going to be more problems along the line than there were. But then aside from it, I didn't, on the Patriots side of things, I didn't understand what we were doing. It was a real calamity. And I expect there's going to be some problems with the left side of the line because, whenever you put two rookies out next to each other on the offensive line in their first NFL start, you're probably not going to get the best result. And all in all, I thought they didn't play too badly. Obviously, you expect more from Will Campbell being as high a draft pick as he was. But, I saw some good things. I saw some bad things. The biggest thing moving forward is progression, right? We want to see these rookies, clean up the mistakes, not make the same mistakes twice, and get over the hump as quickly as possible. So, just Green Bay Packers, nice play to Romeo Doubs, who scored the first touchdown. That was a nice little crossing route. Hit him right in stride. 20-yard gain. Beautiful. The takeaways on the Patriots side of things. Drake May was kind of uneven. Maybe part of that is the offensive line. Part of that being the second-year guy with, this being, I think, his 11th start, if I'm not mistaken. New offensive coordinator, new coach. I think mostly new line. 4 or 5 starters are new this year. And, some new weapons in the for wide receivers and running backs. Travion Henderson, I thought, looked fantastic. Couldn't for the life of me understand why he got as few touches as he did, but I think that's probably going to change going forward. We had a situation where Ramondre blew pass pro a couple times and generally looked pretty ineffective running the ball. I expect we're going to see a bigger split of work for Henderson. I don't expect him to take over all the early down work just because I do think he operates best when he's splitting carries with someone else. So I I mean, I don't know. It's the real question here is it going to be Mondre going forward, or are they going to start looking at Antonio Gibson a little bit? Um, Now, I don't think either one of them did particularly well in this past game, but we'll see. Um, you do need somebody that can kind of come in and get those between the tackle, tough yards. Um, and I don't know if Mondre's um, big enough to do that anymore. He lost quite a bit of weight in the offseason, and he looks leaner and faster, but he also didn't look as powerful either on last Sunday. So we'll see what that looks like going forward. But um, not going to get too over my skis on that because I do feel like as the year goes on, the running game's going to be fine. These guys are all historically very good run blockers. So I don't know. I think the week one thing was an aberration. Um, the one major thing that I miscalculated, I didn't give enough weight to when I was thinking about the matchups and what this was going to look like for the Patriots in week one. What I didn't factor was the fact that McDaniels was the head coach of the Raiders. Um, so that defensive coordinator went against Josh McDaniels' offense every day in practice for what, 6, 8 months? So couple that with the fact that I don't really think we got very exotic in our play call. It was pretty obvious, you know. There were a handful of plays that I can think of off the top of my head where when we were motioning or we were set up in a certain formation, it almost looked like the Raiders knew exactly what we were going to do. Um, and credit to them because, I mean, all that really means is that their coach got them ready, right? He reminded them, said, hey, look, you're going to see this. When they do this, they're doing this. So here's how you have to defend it. And they did a fantastic job defending it. So kudos to them. We, I mean, Drake May was no slouch either. He had I think 287 yards passing with a touchdown and interception. So he had a pretty solid day as well. I want to say he was top 10 rated in the league as far as quarterback numbers. I mean, he didn't look like a top 10 quarterback, but numbers wise, he was there. Gino looked fantastic. It was, I don't know. I mean, we got to remember the defensive coordinator is also a first time DC. So this is his first go around too. Plus, he had some health issues in the summer, so he hasn't been with the team very long. In all honesty, and he's out again right now. As a matter of fact, they're not sure he's going to make the trip to Miami. So we might be looking at a fill-in already, second week of the season for a defensive coordinator. So growing pains on that, on that front. Hopefully Mike Vrabel steps in and grabs the reins a little bit because this was his deal. He hired this guy and he vouched for him. And this is the cloth that he's cut from in the coaching world. He's a DC. So I don't see any reason why he should be passing the buck on to a linebacker coach or any other person on that coaching staff that's probably not ready to call plays. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm looking at this weekend. Is he going to take a bigger role in the defensive play calling? Or is he going to let? I don't know. I don't even know who he is. I think it's the linebacker coach do it. And I think that was the rumor that I heard, was that he was going to be the one calling plays this Sunday. So that doesn't excite me. If we got We got somebody who barely is a position coach filling in for the defensive coordinator who's barely a defensive coordinator. Um, Definitely a lack of knowledge and a lack of experience in that area. Um, but we'll see. This is a get right game for somebody this weekend. The Patriots and the Dolphins are two teams that um, lost in week one. Now the Dolphins lost a lot worse than we lost, um, but we lost pretty ugly in the second half too. We went in halftime with a lead, and we managed to let them just have free reign in the second half. The Raiders, I mean, across the board, except for Ashton Jenney, looked amazing. I mean, everybody I can think of, from Trey Tucker um, to Mayer to Bowers. I mean, everybody contributed. Even Dante Thornton, like, fantastic catch. Really, I mean, Carlton Davis, he broke his ankles. The ball was badly underthrown from Geno, and you still came back, slid, and managed to pull in the catch. So it was fantastic. I mean, I think I threw something when that happened. That was a great play. Um, there's, a number of times in the game, Patriots defensively, like, I didn't understand what we were doing. Like, first series, we put 9 up on the line of scrimmage, I think, and then we don't rush all 9, but the 2 we drop out are Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. It's like, makes 0 sense. Why are you dropping your 2 300-pound defensive linemen into coverage? And of course, it was a big play for the Raiders. I think that might have been the Trey Tucker catch, where he got behind the safety. And I mean, Jalen Hawkins is he's a pretty good safety, but he got exposed badly in this game. I will say, on the flip side, I was very impressed with Craig Woodson. I thought, all in all, he played a very solid game, especially considering he's a rookie and it's his first game. He was kind of thrust into the starting role, and he looked every bit the part. So that's one thing I think we've got going for us in the future. I'm going to bring this up real quick. We've got PFF grades from week one, and it's, about what you'd expect from the Patriots. The offensive players, Keyshawn Boutte, Williams, Stephon Diggs, were above average, nobody elite. Average players were May, Campbell, Henry, Henderson, Bradbury, and Hooper. It's not too bad. This is the one that hurts, though, right? Onwenu, Moses, Hollins, Stevenson. Let me get this thing out of there so we can see it. Stevenson, Wilson, Douglas, and Gibson below average. Now, that's not good. Onwenu and Moses is the right side of your offensive line. Those are the guys that are the veterans. They're the ones that are supposed to be setting the example for everyone else. And if they're not doing their job, it's gonna be a long day, especially with 2 rookies on the other side. Now, the 2, Campbell did okay. He did okay. He had some false starts. He had some missed assignments, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think he was responsible for like 1 sack and maybe a couple pressures. And then he had a couple false starts. So, not great, but I can live with that as a first start. Wilson, I mean, I don't really remember him getting beat, but his he must have gotten beat some because his PFF grade was not fantastic. Demario Douglas, I'm gonna say I'm shocked. Like I expected more from him, and he didn't really show up. I didn't most of the game. I didn't even see him. I don't know if that was just a play design. He was just not around, but he didn't make his presence felt. So that is not that's not something I expected. Matt Collins, um, I mean, Matt Collins should be embarrassed. I mean, getting locked up by an undrafted. That's I mean, those guys come out of nowhere every once in a while, and Caillou Blue guy, he looked pretty good. Um, did a very okay job on Mac Wilson. Mac Collins, and he I believe he covered Booty a couple times, and he might have had a pass deflection on one of his routes, but I think Booty pretty much had his way for the most part with the people that were covering him. Uh, the most encouraging thing about the offense, that, from my perspective, was Travion Henderson and Steph Diggs. Like Diggs looked like he didn't miss a beat. Like you would never think he had an ACL. Um, he was just cutting people up. I mean, honestly, like I feel like they probably could have just kept throwing to him all game, and he would have delivered. But obviously, coming off an ACL, they don't want to put that much on his plate right now. Um, so I think, given what we saw, we'll probably see some more of Kyle Williams, and that could be a good thing, right? I think a little more Williams, a little more Henderson. Um, keep it young, get the youth movement going, right? On the defensive side of things, I felt honestly like the defense played pretty solid. I mean, you allow 20 points, you should win most of the time. It's a kind of a Patriot thing to lose, to allow 20 points and lose. It's something that we've been doing for the last 2-3 years. I remember great defensive performances. I mean, I remember like a 3-game stretch a couple of years ago where we allowed, like, I don't know, I think it was like 14 points or something, or 12 points. It was something nuts. It was like, it might have been like 4 field goals over 3 games. That was it for total points, and we lost all 3 of the games. So, yeah, defense has never really been a huge issue for the Patriots. We usually tend to reload when we see something that's a flawed on the defense, and they definitely did that this past offseason. Was I surprised that they cut Peppers? I was very surprised, but um, Woodson looks every bit the player, so I can't really fault them for it. That's their evaluation, and he looked good. So from a PFF grading perspective, we had Kyrie, Tonga, Landry, Barmore, Woodson, and Milton Williams. So the interior of that line, Barmore, Williams, and Tonga, I mean, they all looked elite in that game. The one thing we didn't really see a lot of is pressure in Geno's face, though. Like they were winning all day, but it didn't result in errant throws or anything like that from Geno Smith. It was just kind of, honestly, we made Shinchendi's life hard, right? I mean, I think he had 2 yards of carry or something. I mean, we just shut him out cold. I mean, if he didn't trip over his feet and fall in the end zone, he wouldn't have had the touchdown either. Um, yeah, honestly, that touchdown was probably Spillane's fault. Spillane ran into the wrong hole, so that's why he's down here in the poor category. The average players, Duggar, Pettis, Gibbons, and Austin. Gibbons had a horrendous penalty on special teams. Um, Alex Austin, he had his moments. He was up and down, but he's not a starter. He's the third corner, so he's filling in for the All Pro Gonzalez. Um, Kyle Duggar, you know, I think he acquitted himself okay in this game. He looks pretty good. Pettis looked okay. They both had their moments. Chasen, Davis, Jones, and White below average. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with Keon White. Like he just doesn't look engaged. I don't know. Maybe he's upset about losing the starting job to Chasen, but I hope he comes around because we need him. We need him. That's much is obvious. I don't think Chasen's a full time player. He's gonna have to split with somebody. So hopefully White can get his head straight and those two can just go make damage together. Carlton Davis, obviously responsible for that horrendous lapse in judgment where he let Dante Thornton run by him when it was 3rd and 20. That was inexcusable. You got to know the situation. You got to know. You got to know what they're trying to do, and you can't bite on those moves. I mean, it doesn't matter. Thornton put his foot in the ground and he cut. But you, as a corner, you had to know that was coming, and you know that you had to stay on top of it. So it's inexcusable. And then I didn't really expect Spillane to play this bad. I was like, it's the Raiders team that you should know cold inside and out, right? Um, Not necessarily the plays, but the players. I mean, this guy's practiced against all these guys for years. I would have thought that he had a better handle on them, but um, I just like Raider Nation told me. They told me. They said Spillane can't cover, and he was exposed badly in coverage. Him and Ellis, for that matter. Ellis looked horrendous too. And Hawkins. I mean, these guys in the poor category there's no coincidence. These are all the guys that got abused by Mayer and Brock Bowers. They are all the carnage of Brock Bowers. So, anyways, that's what happens. A great player makes great plays. But I mean, even when he went out, Mayer came in and did the same thing, just cutting him up. That's it's going to be a problem. They got to figure that out. Is the answer to play more of Marte Mapu? I don't know. But they're going to have to figure that out. So that's pretty much it for the recap. I don't have a ton more to say about that game. Congratulations to the Raiders. Congratulations on having Jacoby Myers. Guy just doesn't drop balls. It's insane. Congratulations to drafting Brock Bowers. He's a real one. It's the best tight end in the league right now. You got him. Congratulations. Genty, I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet, but hopefully he has a breakout game. We'll see. The Chargers are going to be a stiff competition for him as well. So we'll see how he reacts on his bounce back game. But the reassuring thing is that they are definitely committed to using him, right? I mean, he got a lot of carries. There's trying to think what he had, 14 maybe? 14 carries? So that's quite a bit. So that means regardless of how it was going, they kept going to him. Um, Eventually you'll have a game where he gets it going. And we'll see. Hopefully, for his sake, it's the Chargers. Um, Let me think. The What else impressed me about the Raiders? Blue, the cornerback. Um, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was excellent. Um, Obviously, the thing I was most worried about going into the game was the Raider linebackers. I I thought we were going to have a hard time with them, and we did. I was relieved when one went out, but then the next guy up came in and he just kept doing the same thing. So I mean, it's they have some good depth there at the linebacker position in Vegas. So they're definitely going to be able to cause some problems. Jamal Adams looked great in his transition to linebacker. Um, I I don't know. I mean, he's not very heavy, so it's are people going to expose him at some point? I don't know. I don't know, but he looked pretty good. I know that's like kind of what the Patriots are hoping Marte Mapu can do for us, but obviously Adams is a different caliber player. So we will see. I don't understand how this is gonna play out, but I'm sure it'll become clear in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how everything comes together. I really didn't think the role that they were running Trey Tucker in was going to work, but it worked. Maybe because Gonzalez wasn't there. I don't know that Gonzalez would have taken him. Um, but Tucker a couple times was able to get wide open. And I think at least on one of them, maybe both, it was Jabril. It was the safety's fault. So I don't know. I don't know how they remedied that because they're not really playing a lot of experience back there. They've got Hawkins and Pettis who are both pretty new to the league, and then Woodson's a rookie. So there's just not a ton of experience back there now, which is a big change considering you went from Peppers and Duggar, right, who had a ton of experience, to now you got essentially none. So that's a tough spot to be in for the safety net of your defense. If we're looking at next week for the Patriots got Miami, and the Raiders have the Chargers. Now the Chargers game is a Monday night game, so that's going to be pretty fun. They get a little extra rest, a little extra time to prepare. I do expect that to be a really good game. Prime time, Carroll versus Harbaugh. I think it's going to be one of those matchups. That being said, let's jump right into that and go right into the schedule. Let's take a look at this. See if we can take a look at these, pick some of these games, and I'm gonna make some notes as we go along here. I'm gonna pick these games right live as we go through this. So this game right here, Green Bay and Washington, it's kind of unfair because the game's almost through the first half now. We got a minute 48 left in the first half, and the Packers are leading 14-3. But I can honestly tell you I was going to pick the Packers in this game. I think just with the addition of Micah Parsons and the strength that team already has on offense. I didn't think you know I didn't think the Commanders were good enough to beat them. Um, Next up, and the first game on the Sunday docket is Jacksonville and Cincinnati. We've got um, looks like we've got a line of three minus 3.5 for Cincinnati, over under 48.5. If I'm being honest in this game, I think this is probably got to be a Cincinnati game. They kind of looked like they hadn't got into the car into gear yet last week, so I fully expect that Joe Burrow is going to get it cooking this week. He's been participating in the preseason, so I don't think this is the malaise that they usually have is going to last that long. I think you should see them start to get into their fireworks mode a little sooner than the last few years. So this being a home opener, I do expect that they're going to come out here and take care of Jacksonville. So Cincinnati. Next game is New York and Dallas. Dallas is a 5.5 point favorite. Totals at 44 right now. 44.5. I'm gonna say this is Dallas. Let's say it's Dallas. Dallas and Dallas and New York. I don't see enough out of the Giants. Maybe they'll come around at some point, but they just don't look like they got enough of anything. So I don't see them being able to run with Dallas. That Dallas defense looked pretty scary in week one against a team I thought was going to roll them pretty good, to be honest. So moving on, we've got Chicago at Detroit. Now that's a good game. Division matchups are always tough. Just like the Giants and Dallas, I don't expect that one to be a blowout or anything. I think that the Cowboys are probably going to beat them in a close game, just because for whatever reason that they always end up like that. Similar with the Chicago Detroit game. Now I think Detroit needs to kind of make a statement, but I don't necessarily know that they have the intellectual capital to do that in the coaching ranks. These coaches are pretty new. I think we're going to be looking at a scenario where this is a home game and they kind of want to get right, but at the same time, Chicago lost week one, so they're going to be wanting to get in the win column too. Both these teams lost their first week, so that being said, it's a home game for Detroit. I think I'm probably leaning towards Detroit just because I think they've got a little more talent than Chicago. But we'll see. Next is Los Angeles Rams traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Titans are not good. So, I mean, this is the LA Rams all day. All day. Cam Ward didn't look great first week. Not at all. Not even a little. So I did see, one or two throws that looked like they were NFL worthy, but on the whole, his day was pretty forgettable. Um, we'll see if he can build on that. I do think they've got some interesting pieces out there that they can build around. But the question is how quickly they're going to be able to make that happen. The next game on the docket's the Patriots and the Dolphins. Um, this one's in Miami. Miami's really owned us since Brady left. I especially and even in the shorter term since McDaniel got there. McDaniel has like just killed us every time we play him. Uh, so I don't doubt that he can come up with a game plan for us. My question about Miami are: one, is Jalen Waddle going to play? He took a pretty good shot last week, and he's questionable. So I'm not entirely, I'm not 100% sure that he's going to end up playing on Sunday. Um, Tyreek is under investigation for domestic abuse again. Um, the quarterback looked lost last week. Tua was doing some things that I had no explanation for. He was making throws that looked like he had pressure, but he didn't. Um, Inaccurate, bad reads. Is the whole deal, like stuff that I don't normally associate with Tua. He was doing it all last week. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the Indianapolis Colts defense being that good and their disguises being that good that they just straight up fooled him, or is Tua just uh, losing it? I'm tempted to pick the Patriots in this, but I feel like I'm a homer in this one. And Miami is a point and a half favorite in this game. Now, do I have more faith in Mike McDaniel or Mike Vrabel? I I'm going to say I have more faith in Mike Vrabel, but um, that's tenuous at this point, right? Terrell Williams, the defensive coordinator, is out. I don't believe he's going to travel to this game, so we're down a defensive coordinator now. If Vrabel steps in and takes over, am I so concerned about it? No, not really. I think if Vrabel were to take over play calling, I think it would be just fine. He can for sure cover it for a week. Um, that being said, I'm not sure that the approach is going to be for him to do that. I think he might. I think he might defer to someone else, which scares me a little bit because I don't want to have a first-time play caller trying to trying to call defenses against Tyreek and Waddle. That's what I don't want in this world. And A Chain. There's just too much speed. Um, this has got to be a good defensive game plan, or else we're going to be in trouble. These guys are looking to get loose and run. They're going to definitely be trying to beat us. So if we have any of the nonsense we had last week in the secondary, we're going to have real problems. If you let Trey Tucker look like, have the game he had, I don't even want to know what Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to do to us. Couple that with the fact that I'm not entirely sure that Gonzalez is going to play this week either. We desperately need him to play this week. If he is not there, um, that's going to be a problem. Um, okay, so all that to say, I I'm going to pick the Patriots just because I think I wouldn't feel right otherwise. Now I maybe this is a homer pick, maybe it is. If you're betting it, I would just say this. My disclaimer: you can just skip the homer picks. If it's a New England game, don't even let my bias influence your decision making. I would just skip right over that. Go to the next game. So next up on the list is San Francisco versus New Orleans. Um, Now, interestingly, this is going to be the first game without Brock Purdy, who is going to be out for the next, I think, 4 to 5 weeks. Um, so, all you New England people, this is the return of the Mac. Mac Jones going to get his first start in San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan. Um, I was talking to Turf about this. I'm like, just watch. This is going to be like the rebirth of Mac. He's going to look like a stud executing that offense. And then everybody's going to be like, you guys cut him. You guys cut him. Um, Whatever. I'm fine with it. He was never going to be the savior, so I'm fine. I'm fine. If he's reborn in San Francisco, good for him. Honestly, I mean, if Sam Darnold can come back to life and Geno Smith can come back to life, anybody can. Uh, Looking at this game on the whole, I mean, I really don't expect New Orleans to do a whole lot. They I just don't respect the team at all. I really don't. So I mean, it's a home game for them. They should win just because of that. But I mean, even Vegas is saying San Francisco's a 3.5 point favorite on the road. It doesn't happen a ton. So I mean, I think basically, San Francisco by more than a touchdown is what we're looking at. So I'm taking San Francisco in that game, regardless of the fact that Brock Purdy isn't playing. Next up is Buffalo versus New York Jets. Now this is going to be an interesting game. So the Patriots playing the Dolphins, division matchup. Buffalo playing the Jets. This game is going to be uh, at at the Jets, so it's going to be in Jersey. Who do I think is gonna pull this game out? It's my gut says it's probably Buffalo. I can't imagine the Jets beating Buffalo, but we'll see. My pick is going to be Buffalo. Um, Honestly, the way the first week went, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the Jets gave them a good run. Um, would I be surprised if they beat them? Yes, I would. But it definitely looks like the Jets offense can put some points up on the board. Um, I actually like Aaron Glenn as a head coach. I was kind of afraid of this. He's when they hired him. I was when I heard his introductory press conference, I was like, "Now this guy sounds like he could command the room." And so far, it looks like he has the players' attention. Uh, I mean, the real question is how long he can hold on to it. Jets players are notoriously fickle. Um, but we'll see. The last coach I saw them stand behind for any amount of time was Rex Ryan. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get it together. Certainly, if they beat the Bills, then everybody's back in business, right? Jets go to 1-1. The Bills go to 1-1. Uh, one of one of the Patriots and the Dolphins are going to go to 1-1, so it'd be a three-way tie for first place. That's the AFC East that I'm here for. That's the one that the Patriots would have a chance to win. Of course, unless they're the one that's on too. But we'll see how that goes. Moving on. Next on the schedule is Seattle at Pittsburgh. So this is going to be kind of interesting. Seattle's traveling cross country to Pittsburgh, play the early game. That's usually not a recipe for success in the NFL, and especially Seattle, because that is the extra distance travel. Aaron Rodgers looks pretty good. That Seattle defense looked pretty good last week. The Pittsburgh defense played pretty well. I mean, they ended up. Well, no, I guess they didn't really. They ended up winning the game, what, 34-32. So they gave up quite a few yards and points too. So Pittsburgh's defense can be thrown on. It can be run on. We'll see. I think Seattle's going to have the players necessary to move the ball. So let's say this is a close game, but I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh because they're at home. They don't have to travel. They're going to have those fans behind them. Next on the list is Cleveland at Baltimore. Now, this is the one people are going to look at, and they're going to be like, well, of course, it's Baltimore, right? Baltimore's at home. They just came off a loss to the Bills. Of course it's them. They're just going to run through the Browns. Browns stink. Now, it's a division matchup, and we all know how that goes. That never means that it's a blowout. Those games are always hard fought. I am going to pick Baltimore for the record, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns give them a run for their money. I would not. As soon as Judkins gets on the field and he gets acclimated into that offense and he starts playing, they're going to start cooking because Judkins is a player. And so is Sampson for that matter. It's like week one, Dylan Sampson really impressed me. I have a feeling that Judkins and Sampson are going to form the two heads of that monster in Cleveland. So they're going to get back to running the ball. I think they're going to be pretty good. Thank God they're in a tough division. So they're just going to have to beat each other up. So I need Baltimore over Cleveland in Baltimore. Next game, Denver and Indianapolis. Indianapolis was the shocker of week one, to be honest. Now, I know Angelo was on Indy already. He called it before we went into the season that they were going to be a good team. I was skeptical. I didn't think Daniel Jones could do it, but he did. Credit to him. He executed the offense. He's moved the ball up and down the field. I mean, it was an excellent, balanced game. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman on the outside. I mean, they did a really good job of getting the ball to their weapons and letting them make plays. So kudos to them. This game is at their house. But the only problem is they're playing Denver. Now, I can't think of a worse team to play in week two coming off a loss. Denver's going to be out for blood this week. And I don't know if I would want anything to do with that defense. They are going to want to make a statement. Pittman's a little banged up, and I don't really know what this is going to look like. But I do know it's going to be ferocious on defense because Indy shut out Miami last week. So I expect a low-scoring defensive battle. Right now, they got Denver as a 1.5-point favorite, and they've got 43.5 is the over/under. So they don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game either. I think that's one of the lower overs for the week. So in that vein, I'm going to take Denver here because I think Denver's not starting the season 0-2. I don't know if that means Indy's drinking their own Kool-Aid, but I don't see it. Denver's going to go in there with a plan and a mission, and they're going to take care of business. At the end of the day, I think the Colts are gonna lose that game. Next up, Carolina at Arizona. Carolina's terrible. I'm not gonna spend any time talking about them. They're terrible. They're not beating Arizona, so Arizona wins at home. Next, Philadelphia, Kansas City. Now that is going to be a fun game. Rematch of the Super Bowl. Kansas City probably is going to be without Xavier Worthy. We'll see what they can do with that. Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster, coupled with Travis Kelce. Yeah, that's not a great recipe for success. The thing they got going for them is it's a home game at Arrowhead, which is the ultimate home field advantage. That and Mile High. And Patrick Mahomes not really in the business of losing at home or starting seasons 0-2. So it's a tough call because I really want to say that Philly's going to win this game just because their defense looks like it's going to be dangerous. Once they all get used to playing with each other. But I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, man. And just picking straight, I'm not picking against him. Right now, Vegas thinks Philly's a 1.5-point favorite in Kansas City. I'm not going there. I'm going to take Kansas City in this one. Philly, I think, loses in the regular season. Final Sunday game, Sunday Night Football, Atlanta at Minnesota. I don't know what the infatuation is with Atlanta. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I like Penix. He looks like a pretty good quarterback. Might be one of the better ones from that draft class. But I think the team as a whole is. I don't know what they're missing. I really can't put my finger on it. It's just they don't look like they're going to win ever. It's like you got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London, you got Penix, you've got you got players, but it just doesn't feel like you've got enough for some reason. I'm not really sure. And Minnesota is playing at home. I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be a Minnesota game. JJ to JJ. Get used to that. Moving on to Monday, we got two matchups. Tampa Bay at Houston and the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Starting with Tampa Bay at Houston, looks like there's a chance, outside chance, that Christian Kirk plays in this game. I don't have high hopes for that. I think he might end up sitting out another week. But we'll know. We'll know pretty soon. Christian Kirk would be a difference maker in this offense. But the real problems on Houston are up front. Their offensive line does not look good at all. And I mean, maybe it's just, something that's going to take some time to develop. I honestly, I didn't look too closely at the game film for what were their deficiencies, but it was a pretty ugly loss last week for them. So I hope we get a better game out of them this week. But do I think they can beat Tampa Bay? 2 weeks ago I might have said yes. Now I'm kind of leaning towards Tampa Bay. As good as that Houston defense is, I don't think their offense is good enough to outscore Tampa Bay. So I'm going to go Tampa Bay in that game. Now that flies a little bit in the face of Vegas. Vegas got Houston as a 2.5-point favorite. And they got the over under at 42.5. So they think this might be a low scoring game as well. Yeah, I don't care. Houston's starting Nick Chubb at running back, and he doesn't look good. So I mean, if you don't have a running game, you're in trouble, especially if your offensive line is not doing a great job at pass blocking. Final game of week 2, Los Angeles Chargers at Las Vegas Raiders. Now, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers favored by 3.5 points. Over under is set at 45.5. Now, if I'm being objective about this game, I think that the Chargers present a lot of problems for the Raiders. And I think the Chargers are in a much better position to exploit those matchup problems. A much better position than the Patriots were. I don't think, their defense coordinator, albeit he's seen the Chargers twice a year, he doesn't have anywhere near the depth of knowledge as he did against Josh McDaniels. So that alone, plus the fact that Omari and Hampton's running the ball for the Chargers, and they've got, 2 or 3 problematic wide receivers, I'm going to say that this is going to be the Chargers, which is unfortunate for the Raiders because it's a home game. But I think LA Chargers go into Las Vegas and get the win. That is a wrap on week 1. I mean, on week 2, rather. The biggest injury of the week that came out was obviously the Brock Purdy news. Uh, Brock Purdy going down for 45 games could be uh, a killer for their season. Luckily, they got the win in week one, so they're starting 1-0. But I mean, if Mac doesn't look good, they're gonna have a real problem. They're gonna have a real problem. I do believe they lost their tight end as well. So yeah, it's not good news. Uh, Luckily, I think the San Francisco 49ers make a habit of having players in the pipeline that can just step in and take over a responsibility and not look half bad doing it. So we'll see. Um, last year we got Jennings and we got Jordan Mason and we got, all these guys that just popped. Ricky Pearsall, all these guys that just showed up and showed out last year. It's probably going to be more of the same. Like Kyle Shanahan's great at that. It's really his superpower. Um, I fully expect that he will get the next guy in line ready, and they'll go out there and they'll look like a team, like a pro team, doing it. Um, Aside from that, the other big news of the week was Tank Bigsby being traded from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Philadelphia Eagles for a couple draft picks. That was an interesting move because um, the Eagles have a veteran backup, a rookie backup, and I thought they were good on depth, but apparently they didn't think so. So the fact that they're bringing in Bigsby, who's an early down runner, makes me think that they're trying to split off some of Saquon's workload so that he's not putting as much wear and tear on his body. Probably a good move long term for them because he had quite a few touches last year. And Saquon doesn't have a great track record of staying on the field. So it's probably not a bad idea that you get another guy that you can, lean on a little bit. Look at this. Is this Tucker Kraft? 85. He's having quite a game for the Packers. They are moving the ball. It's 14-3 in the third quarter now, and Jordan Love is on the 15. My God, Josh Jacobs just right up the middle. Right up the middle. Yep, that's a first down. First and goal. Great run. Where were we? Oh, Tank to Philly. Yeah, so I do think that's going to be interesting move for them. Tank's gonna work his way in there. The real question is, what does that mean for Jacksonville? Because ETN went down last year, and uh, Bigsby was kind of like the savior. He kind of prevented that team from completely falling apart. They were able to still run the ball with him and keep that team in games. That defense played pretty well. So, I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks that maybe they see something in Bashal Tootin and they want to lean on him. Part of me thinks that this is maybe something else that we're not thinking about. Now, I'm not entirely sure what that could be. Maybe it means that they um, like LaQuint Allen too. Maybe he's the one that they see as having the more of the bruiser type role that Bigsby had, or maybe Bajal Tutin is. Um, we'll see how it plays out. I'm not entirely sure, but this should be fun to watch anyway. Um, you know, as far as injuries go, obviously the next biggest one was Brock Bowers in the Patriots game, going out with the knee injury. But uh, all indications from Raiderland is that he avoided something really bad, and this is kind of a minor thing. So, I mean, he's questionable. I don't think he's been practicing, but I don't know. They might just ride him. They might just let him sit and rest this week, and then they just activate him on game day. I mean, he's Bowers, so I don't necessarily think that. I don't necessarily think that they're going to do um, anything too crazy to risk his health. But if he's good to go, they'll definitely play him. So we're just gonna have to, I think, wait and see. And that is more or less like it for major injuries as far as I remember. I'll have to go by. If anybody thinks of any that I missed, please put them in the comments, and I'll definitely get you up on screen. Speaking of comments, if you guys, if you're watching, please do us a favor, like and subscribe. I'm Titletown Sports Talk, and Turf, who can't be here tonight, he is, the ultimate Raider fan. Ultimate Raider fan 32 is his handle. I'm at Titletown Sports Talk, and that's kind of my handle on all platforms. So like, subscribe, go follow me on Twitter, go follow me on TikTok or Instagram. I'm on all of them. We appreciate you guys coming. Um, I I think that's going to wrap things up for the week 2 preview. I I don't think I don't think there's going to be I don't think there's going to be a ton of blowouts this week. There's a lot of division games going on, so I think we're going to see a lot of close games. Um, I don't think anything more than 10 points, maybe. Uh, maybe Carolina's the exception, but we'll see. Um, good luck to everybody in their survivor picks this week. Um, if I'm looking at that, we'll put it back up and we can look at this. Would I survivor pick either of these games from Monday night? Nope. This Washington Green Bay I wouldn't have touched the survivor. Honestly, if I'm going down the list and I'm looking at these games, it's tough sledding because there's quite a few division matchups, and you don't really want to be picking a survivor pick on a division matchup because anything can happen. Uh, outside of division games, Atlanta and Minnesota, Denver, Indy, Carolina at Arizona. If you didn't use Arizona last week, because Arizona started off the season playing New Orleans, if you didn't use them last week on that game, this might be the week to use them against Carolina. I'm almost certain that they're going to win that game. Next best possibility, I might go with the Rams at Tennessee. I just um, I don't think that coach is very good. He hasn't shown anything. I'm kind of surprised that he's still around, to be honest, because we haven't seen much. Um, it's starting to look like it was a really bad idea for them to fire Vrabel, like a really bad idea. Um, it's yeah, yeah. That's my survivor pick this week. I'd go with the Rams. Go with the Rams over the Tennessee Titans. Go for it. Lock it in. It's the pick of the week. Um, that's kind of it for this week. I don't have a ton to talk about for the NFL other than what we've already gone over. I think you're ready for another good week of football. Hopefully the Patriots get in the win column this week, and hopefully I know Turf was kind of down on his team for the season. Hopefully turn things around for him, having getting that week 1 win. They do have a very difficult schedule. I will say that, like, very difficult. So keep the good vibes rolling. I hope the Raiders get another week, another win, and then they go 1-0 in the division. So this is a big one for them. You know, we got college football still kind of. We'll hold off and dig in too deeply into that. Like nobody really needs to talk about you know Power Five conference teams playing cupcakes that they're going to obliterate. Um, you know, they can. I think this is kind of the last week. We're going to get back to real football next week. You know, let them get it out of their system. Uh, it should be you know should be a good betting weekend. Sometimes those scores are fun to pick when the spread's like 30 points or something. Uh, like OSU won. I don't even remember. It was 70-0 or something. It was something like ridiculous last week. They just laid it on them. But through 2 weeks, I can tell you my take on college football right now. Um, Ohio State looks legit. Oklahoma looks legit. Uh, you know, Texas, I'm concerned. I'm honestly concerned. They haven't looked great. Uh, they're slipping a little bit. I think they're down to like 9, if I'm not mistaken. 7? No, that's not right. Yeah, they're at 7. So, um, Georgia, Miami, Oregon, LSU, Penn State. Penn State looks pretty scary. They look like a team that was in the college football, playoff until the very end last year. Uh, LSU and Oregon. I mean, Oregon's looked pretty good. LSU's looked pretty good, but I was very impressed, very very impressed with Florida State actually, and Oklahoma. I kind of feel like those are the two to watch out. They're coming hard. Uh, Tennessee looked pretty good too. Now that I'm thinking back, So let's just keep an eye on how things are gonna roll. You know, the top 25 teams are kind of what they are. With you know, with the exception of South Florida. South Florida came out of nowhere. They're 2-0, two big wins. So good for them. Let's see if they can keep it up. We got Miami at 5. They looked pretty good, and let's see everybody get through their next get right game, and then we can start talking about things. That's it for me. So, you know, you know how we get down. Hook 'em. Catch you next week.